Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 223. Andrew Eisen here. You are wherever you are, and I hope it's very nice. Matthew, hello. So, oh golly, what do I want to talk about? Let me look at my list. So, one of the things I said on Twitter that I'd talk about this week, I'm not going to talk about this week. I'm going to push that off to next week. So, a friend of mine calls me up, not doesn't texts me. Redditors put the squeeze on hedge fund with their pants down. Yeah, I saw that too, but I didn't look into it, so I can't really comment on it with any insider knowledge because I didn't look into it too much. So, um, but I imagine that the Wall Street hedge fund peoples are peoples who are also on Reddit. So I imagine it's a lot of the same people. So anyway, so a friend of mine texts me yesterday or the day before. He says, "Hey, I'm getting a new phone, so I'll text you my new number when I get it." I said, "Cool." And this is the third time she's switched her phone over the years. It's not like something she does every week. I've known her for 20 years. Um, so the first time I had her number in my phone, I just put her name there, like you do for most people. Then she switched her phone, and for a long time, I actually just had the new number instead of the name, so as not to make a dupe in my address book. And I never really got around to changing it until fairly recently, when she texted me and says, "Hey, it's your dream girl, blah 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 blah, ha ha ha." I went, "Oh, there you go." And so she sits in my phone as dream girl because it's funny to us. So I thought, what should I what alias should I put your new number under? And I asked her, and she responded, "Reverse cowgirl." uh, okay. Did I accidentally delete it? Her number? No. Um, and because I am immature, I immediately started thinking of Reverse Cowgirl as a superhero. Like Reverse Flash. Of course, Reverse Flash is a villain, but whatever. So I'm like, Reverse Cowgirl. That could be a super. I started like picturing what this new superhero would look like. And then I started thinking, you know what? There's a bunch of sex positions that would make really good superhero names. I bet you could make an entire superhero team of sex position names, like Hovering Butterfly. Yeah. So I mentioned that on Twitter, and a few people are like, "Dude, you should talk that out on Twitter." I said, "Okay," or on the podcast. I said, "All right." I've been busy today and yesterday, so I do have kind of a rough draft of a Kama Sutra superhero team, but I'd like to give it another week to really polish it. I've actually got a couple main names. I've got a couple sidekick names. I've got a superhero alias, like their secret identity name. I've got one for like a giant um, world-ending menace, like Galactus or something like that. So we're gonna push that off onto next week, and hopefully I'll have the time to actually put some thought into this and come up with something funny. So in the meantime, all y'all think of your own sex position superheroes, and either bring them to the chat next week or put them in the comments or something. So this could be fun because I definitely laughed myself stupid because I am genuinely that immature. So, um, one thing I would like to talk about: Godzilla versus Kong, or Kong versus Godzilla. It's one of the two. Um, so they released a trailer for Kong and Godzilla this week, and it looks fine. It's got Kong, it's got Godzilla, and they punch each other in the face. How could you possibly screw something that cool up? Well, I am of the opinion that they managed the last time they did a movie with a bunch of giant monsters in it. I was super excited to see Godzilla King of Monsters, and I went to see Godzilla King of Monsters, and I didn't like Godzilla King of Monsters. I thought it was genuinely a bad movie, and it should feel bad. I know a lot of people really like the movie, and I know a lot of people really don't. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything. I just didn't enjoy it. In fact, I was actually sitting in the theater. I found the movie actively aggravating, and two main reasons. Did I use these two fingers for two? I don't know why. One, it in the trailer for Godzilla King of Monsters, where at the end of the trailer, Godzilla and King Ghidorah charge each other, and they're roar, roar, charge. Cut to black. Title card coming in June or whenever the hell it came out. And it's like, oh, this is gonna be so awesome. That's literally how it's edited in the movie. Roar, roar, roar. Cut to a different scene. No, you do that in a trailer. You don't do that in the movie. And they do that all the damn time. Um, what do they cut away to? To the stupid people. Oh, God. I mean, generally speaking, you never care about the people in these movies. That's a generalization. There are exceptions. But especially in this one, I just couldn't stand anyone in the movie. And there are a lot of people in this movie. And they are all dumb. And all of their motivations are dumb and make no sense. And I didn't like King of Monsters. But I do like giant monsters stomping on cities and punching each other. So I will give Kong versus Godzilla a try. I actually liked Skull Island. I thought that was fun. Um, the Godzilla that was, but just Godzilla 2014, 2016, wherever the hell it came out. It was okay. Um, do I have anything to say about this movie? Oh, who do I want to win? Well, I'm rooting for Godzilla. Interestingly, though, I will readily admit that, in my very humble opinion, anyway, King Kong has the stronger filmography. Uh, most of Godzilla's movies suck. In fact, I would say there's only one good one, and that's the original from 51 or whenever it came out. Actually, the original Japanese one and the American edited one that has Raymond Burr. It's actually not too bad either. There's like 30 Godzilla movies. I've not seen all of them, but most of what I've seen is just insufferable. So there's one good one, and they range from insufferable to kind of crap. And there's a couple that are okay. And I think the Roland Emmerich Godzilla from '98, I think that one's okay. It doesn't irritate me to watch it. It's like, it's fine, whatever. There's a big lizard in it. The Godzilla, the more modern one is fine. Even the trilogy of cartoons that were on Netflix over the last couple of years are just bad. Kong, on the other hand, uh, pretty solid. Not as many movies. Interestingly, Kong versus Godzilla is terrible. Not that it doesn't have its moments, but the original one. But the original King Kong's great. Uh, the sequel, Son of Kong, is actually pretty solid. Um, the remake, the Dino De Laurentiis one in the '70s is it's okay. I forget if that's King Kong. No, they had it one, and then they had King Kong Lives, which is like half of it's pretty good, and the other half's terrible. So it evens out, I guess. Skull Island's pretty good. The Peter Jackson King Kong's pretty entertaining. So yeah, I think Kong has a stronger filmography, but I still like Godzilla better. So I will root for Godzilla. But maybe it isn't a case of one has to win over the other. And it's probably going to be there's going to be a third monster that they have to team up to beat. And they become friends, but maybe they become lovers. Wouldn't that be fun? So, although you did have, which one was it? Was it King Kong Lives that had Kong and a Lady Kong, and it was just it's just kind of made you squirm in discomfort. At least me, because I'm childish. It's like, ah, they're kissing. They got cuties. Ew. But nevertheless, you got Kong and Godzilla, and they're punching each other. And someone on Twitter said, "Hey, do you mind that they're scaling up Kong so much?" Nah. I mean, they scaled him up to nearly the biggest he's ever been in Skull Island, specifically so he could meet Godzilla later. And they said in that movie, it's like, oh, he's still growing. He's just a kid. He he ain't had his growth spurt yet. Um, so Godzilla has always been, Kong is Godzilla's always been different sizes, but Kong has been different sizes in the same movie. Like in the original King Kong, if you're really paying attention, he ranges from like 25 to 50 feet, depending on the shot. Um, Godzilla's always been huge, like 150 feet tall, but the new one's like 400 feet tall. And the reason they do that, of course, is because buildings have gotten taller. Um, but yeah, so Kong's got to be pushing 400 feet now, because otherwise Godzilla just step on him. What is a 50-foot Kong gonna do to a 400-foot fire-breathing lizard? It's gonna get squished. So, Kong versus Godzilla. Oh, there was another thing that happened this week. The company that does Eurotruck Simulator had a little event in the past week or two where you could drive a truck full of vaccines, and the point is get the vaccines to wherever they need to be to get people vaccinated. And if you hit anything, you fail. Huh. How timely. Nifty. Well, of course, there are terrible people who have nothing better to do than complain about things. And it's like, oh, politics and video games. They claim, either not understanding what they're saying or more likely knowing exactly what they're saying, just not caring that it's stupid. Um, I heard someone say that the company behind Eurotruck Simulator's original response was a very Ubisoft esque, oh, we don't take sides, there are no politics in our game. It's like, I didn't see that. I looked on their Twitter and I looked on their blog, and if they did say something along those lines, they've since replaced it, which is good, because that'd have been crap. There are some things that are just correct, that it's okay to just be on the right side of the thing that's right. I mean, if we're talking about, is Godzilla King of Monsters any good, then sure. If you're a company that's trying to sell as many copies of a video game or whatever to as many people as possible, then yeah, straddle that line and say, look, we're not taking sides. you know People like the movie, people don't like the movie. It's totally fine. We're just here to provide a fun video game. But when it's so for things like that, fine. But if it's something like introducing a vaccine so that people don't die, there's a right and a wrong position there. So you don't want to say, you know what, we're not taking a position, even though the two available are correct and incorrect. We're just not. No, that makes you cowardly, and you lose your spot on my Christmas list. No fruit basket from me. So I don't know if they did that. If they did, they realized that was a crap thing to say and replaced it with a less crap thing. I Even if it's not helpful, I think it's okay to let me put my money where my mouth is, like I make any money on this show. Hey, Nazis, fuck off. You're not welcome here. You're not wanted here. If I find you here, I will remove you. See how easy that is? That is the right position to hold, no matter who you are or what you're doing. Granted, I have really no stake as I don't do this for a living. But even if this was my sole income, what I just did may possibly have driven off some of my viewership. Fuck them. I don't care. So it's okay to say right things and to tell bad people they're bad and they're not welcome here until they stop being bad, even if that may cost you a few dollars. Because the additional revenue I would earn by allowing Nazis, as an example, in my space ain't worth it because of the damage they cause. So, if you are facing a situation which is as clear and black and white as Nazis, no Nazis, and you're like, we don't want to piss off the Nazis. They buy our stuff. You suck. You suck harder than a black hole, says I. And I know that's kind of meaningless coming from someone who isn't going to be affected by telling Nazis or any particular racists, misogynists, bigots in general. All y'all fuck right off. You're not welcome here. And if I find out that you are a bigot of any stripe, I will ban you. So if you're a bigot and you enjoy my content, hide it. Or preferably, stop being a bigot. Because it's bad. Because you hurt people. And I don't like that. Oh. Speak of the reverse cowgirl. What was I talking about? Oh, bad people. Yeah. I make no money from this, so there's it's so you could say, oh well, gee, Andrew, no one. There's two people watching your podcast right right now anyway. You get maybe 80 to 100 views of video these days, so you're not losing anything. And yeah, but if I was popular, I'd still say the same thing. At least I hope I would. I mean, I really hope I would. I've often thought about that. It's like, if I suddenly got rich or popular or both, would I be a bad person? Like, Like, if I were wealthy, would I hoard all of my wealth for myself and just sit on it and not use it when I could use it to help others at no disadvantage to myself? Like, if I was so wealthy that I could easily just drop millions of dollars to help other people who need help and not even miss it because that's just how many millions I have, I certainly hope I'd do that. You never know. Maybe I'd be a real greedy, miserly bastard. Um, so let's move on to my new PC, which is it's over there. There it is, sitting next to the Christmas tree. Isn't it handsome? Yes. Uh, Hang on. Doop 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 doop. There we go. So, Brian, uh, viewer and patron extraordinaire, suggested somewhat recently. Um, so my computer died right after the X for Life charity event in November, which is why I've been doing nothing but podcasts since then, because I'm streaming from my work computer. Um, so I sourced parts for a new PC because the one that died was old, and still looking for a GPU. Got everything I need, but GPUs are like literally 3 times what they're supposed to be right now, so I can't afford one. Brian said, "Well, maybe you could buy like a really cheap one, just so you can use the PC until a modern one is at a reasonable price." I thought that's an interesting idea, and then I thought, I do have a video card in my old PC that died. It's old. Maybe it'll work. So last night I put my PC together, which took longer than it should have because there's an issue with computer components in that the instructions are highly genericized. They're never specific. They will say things like, plug this header into the appropriate port. Great. Where's that? Which pins? Now, luckily, most things you plug in modern PCs, most things you plug in anywhere only plug in one place. So it's fairly difficult to plug things into the wrong place. But even stuff like my CPU. I opened up the instructions for my CPU and it had like literally 4 different configuration options. So I had to figure out which one applied to me. Which, I mean, I could, and I did, but still. Same thing with the computer tower. Its instructions covered several different case designs. Also, the illustrations were not as clear as they should have been. Partially because they had no text. Partially because they wanted to be able to be followed by any language, which is admirable. But I spent a long time looking at them going, I don't know what I'm looking at here. So it took me a lot longer than I think it really should have to put that sucker together. Also, some of the screws are really, really small. Like the tiniest little screw that's used to hold the hard drive in place for the M.2 slot. Oh my God, it's so tiny. Also, you got to plug things in and get things in the right order because I don't have gigantic hands. I have slightly larger than average hands. Like, there's no room. I had to put in the front panel headers before I put in the video card and the power supply because otherwise I would not be able to get in there. It's too tight. So I yanked the power supply out because I don't have a grounding strip. So I yanked the power supply out of my old PC and put it on the floor, took off my socks, and just stepped on the power supply to ground myself while I was putting that sucker together. Tiger says most CPUs and motherboards have like a notch or marking to line up and drop it in. Yeah, I had no problem putting the CPU chip itself into uh, the slot it goes into. It's really nice. You pull up a little arm, you drop the slot in. It only fits one way. However, it would be nice if the instructions specifically said there's a little yellow arrow, and drew a picture and circled it and said, line this up with the little yellow arrow on the motherboard. It's actually not a yellow arrow, but whatever. Instead, what it says is plug the CPU in the right way. Thanks. Again, it only fits one way, but you drop it in and you pull the arm down, boom, done. Oh, one funny thing is I thought my CPU was missing thermal paste because you put the CPU down and then you slather it with thermal paste and you slap the heatsink on top of it, right? Right. And I'm like, there's no thermal paste. And I look at the box and it says includes chip, heatsink, thermal paste. Like, son of a gun, where's the thermal paste? And I pick up the heatsink and I turn it over. And I'm like, oh, it comes pre-slathered on the bottom of the heatsink. I'm like, oh, okay. Already on there. Oops. Another thing, like some of the where do you plug in the fan? The fan that sits on top of the CPU heatsink fan. Where do you plug that in? There's 4 different fan ports on the motherboard. I imagine it's CPU fan, right? Sounds reasonable. Think it would be really easy just to, because they have a grid that says fan underscore CPU or CPU underscore fan. Just, and then there's cha fan 1, cha fan 2, and then fan out or something. It's in a little, just right next to it. Plug your CPU in here. Cha means chassis. Plug your chassis fan in here. That's all you needed to say. It only takes up a little bit of room. Just put it in the damn instructions. The front panel headers. The headers for the USB ports and the LEDs, the lights, and the power switch on the front of the casing, all the wires that come from that, they plug into different spots, right? Now, USB 2 and 3, those are easy because they're regular shapes. They only go in one spot. The audio thing goes in one spot. Now, the headers for the LEDs and the power switch, I'm guessing there's no industry standard for that because they're all individual leads, which is annoying. Normally, some of them actually have printed on it. This is, hard drive light or HD LED plus, means hard drive light positive, and there's hard drive light negative. Okay, I know exactly where this goes. There's a little schematic in the thing. All right, it's this pin is the positive, this pin's the negative. Done. Great. Okay. So you have the reset switch, right? So you have reset and ground. Nice of them to tell me that. I'm looking at the header. It says reset switch on it, reset SW, but there's no pause or negative on it. You would think, okay, well, it's if there's a the colored wires, the positive and the white one or the black one is the ground usually. Great, but it's both the wires are in black plastic, so I have no idea what color the wires are without stripping the cable, and I don't want to do that. It might not actually be a casing; it might just be a black wire. So I turn it over, and there is a little triangle. I assume that's positive. I had to Google it. It is. Would have been nice if they just write it in the instructions. It's like the little arrow is positive. Great, thank you. Here's another weird thing. There's a 4x2 grid of pins for those headers. Well, there's actually 2 columns. There's 5 in one column and 4 in the other, but the 5th pin in the first column is no connection. So whatever, it's 4x4. So going from top to bottom, the very one on the top is the positive for the hard drive light, and then the negative for the hard drive light. Go one over, and we got the positive for the power light and the negative for the power light. Then you go down one, and it's positive for the on switch and negative for the on switch. And then you go over here, and it's switched around. All of them are positive on top, negative on bottom, except the hardware switch, which is ground on top and the positive on the bottom. And there's a really good engineering reason for it to be that way, but I was like, did they make a mistake in printing it? Because you literally have to grab the lead and twist the damn thing around because it's not oriented the same way the other 3 are. Also, they're really tiny, and I got big fingers. And the lighting in here sucks. Oh, God. Nevertheless. Oh, the same thing with all my brick, the power supply, comes with a cornucopia of cables and leads. You've everything you could possibly ever want, and they're kind of labeled, like on the brick itself. It has a bank of inputs, and then there's a label which tells you what kind of inputs that bank is, but it doesn't say which one is which. Again, only one type is going to fit in the hole, so I mean, you can't plug it in wrong anyway. You know, the 24-pin connector for the motherboard, you're only going to plug that sucker into one spot on the power supply because it only fits in one spot. So even if the labeling is not particularly clear, you can't plug it into the wrong spot anyway. So nevertheless, it took me a lot longer than I thought it would, but I got the sucker built. I plugged it in, hooked up a monitor, turned it on. No post. In fact, wasn't switching on at all, let alone not posting. It wasn't turning on. I got lights on the board, but like the CPU and chassis fan are not spinning. Got no lights on the front panel. Nada. Tiger says, love those M2, but screw that screw. Yeah, that tiny little itty bitty one. Got one for Christmas yet. Had to wait a few days because it didn't come with the screw to put it in. Oh, that sucks. There's an interesting thing with my motherboard in that there's two PCI slots. Well, there's 3, but the third one is for a completely different thing. So there's 2 places you could plug a video card, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. There are 2 M.2 slots. So the small little itty bitty, incredibly cute SSD, the hard drive that I got, plugs into one of those. I read in the instructions that this particular motherboard, if the second PCI slot is that the second PCI slot and the second M.2 slot share bandwidth, so they can't be on at the same time. Well, whatever. I mean, I'm only going to have one video card in here anyway. Also, I have to plug the video card into the first one because it won't fit in the case if it's in the second one. It's too far down. So, so that kind of told me where to put them in the first place. Oh, also, the motherboard instructions also did a very nice job of telling me where to plug in the RAM sticks. It says if you've got one, use this one. If you've got two, use these two. So if you've got four, put them in all four. So that was nice. That was specific. I liked that. Anyway, so I put the whole thing on, would not turn on. So I said, "Oh, okay, it's dark. I'm tired. I'll worry about it in the morning." PCI Express. Oh, yeah. Oh, pardon me. So, so this morning I tried it again, and I turned it on. Nothing. Still got the motherboard lights, so it's getting power. I tried it a third time. I thought, well, let me try uh, moving the changing my monitor cable from the display plug to the DVI plug. Just different different pin out, just different cable. While I was doing that, the fans started turning on, and I went, probably not me changing the monitor cable, just happened to be one of those things. And it's like, oh, hey, it's working. I have no idea if it's posting because I don't actually have the monitor plugged in. So I plugged in the monitor, no post, but by that I mean the nothing on the monitor. Monitor is still dark, so it's not outputting any information to see on the monitor. So couldn't, no startup screen, no BIOS, no nothing. So the video card again, which is old, so I'm like, oh god, it's gonna blow up. So I turned it off, let it sit for a couple minutes, tried it again, same thing, not getting any not getting, the fans aren't moving. So I tried playing with the monitor cables again, and nothing. I said, okay. So I said, we've got a problem somewhere. So I took the power supply out, put it next to the case. Now I have the whole case sitting on its side so I can work inside. I took the power supply out, put it onto the side so that I could actually have room to work. And I started with the front panel headers, because that's where the power switch is. Thinking, okay, I'm not getting any lights here. Maybe I put something in backwards because the pinouts are really weird and they're not real specific about which way these things go. So maybe I screwed that up. So I played with that for a little while. I also had to pull the video card again because, again, I can't work with those suckers with the video card in the way. And I could not get them to work. So, so I took all the leads out and I shorted the power pins with the end of my screwdriver to see if I could manually start it that way. So instead of actually plugging in the power switch header, I just shorted the leads with a screwdriver. That wasn't working either. I went, okay, we're stripping this down to bare parts. So I pulled I took my hard drive out. I took one of the RAM sticks out, video card was out. Tried it again, nothing. Unscrewed the entire motherboard from the case, pulled it out. So now all I have is the motherboard with the CPU, of course, in it, and the power supply. That's it. Just that sitting on my desk. So I've got a motherboard and a power supply, and I'm getting lights on the board. And I short the power switch, and it turns on. Oh, okay, all right. So I I plug something back in, like the RAM. So I put the RAM in. Start it again. It's starting. Okay. So I put the hard drive in. Start it again. It's starting. Okay. Turn it off. Put the video card in. Start it again. It's starting. Okay, we're making some progress. Now let's hook up a monitor and see if this sucker's posting. And it was. In fact, I was able to actually install Windows on it. By the way, Windows 10, I've never actually installed Windows 10 myself. Funny thing about it is when you install Windows 10, there are a bunch of options that are enabled by default, but you can turn them off if you want to. Every single one of them, I'm talking like 6 to 8 options, boil down to give us permission to use your information. They're all send information on what you're doing to Microsoft. I'm like, no, 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 no. I thought that was funny. So anyway, so I have everything put together just outside of the case, and I'm essentially hot wiring the motherboard to start it. But it's posting. I can start Windows. It keeps shutting off. Probably because it's overheating. It's not in the case. It doesn't have the the CPU blows the air up and the chassis fan sucks it out. So maybe it's just not got the right airflow because it's not in its case. So, all right. So it's working now. I put the motherboard back in the case, screw it back in, uh, put everything where it's supposed to be. Power supply is still hanging outside so that I can work because I still haven't attached the front panel headers. Try to start it. It won't start. Shoot. So I start pulling components again out. Pull the video card, still won't start. Pull the hard drive, still won't start. Pull one of the RAM sticks, still not starting. So I'm thinking, is the case itself shorting out something on my motherboard? So I take the screws out of the motherboard one by one. Take one screw out, try to start it. Take the second screw out, try to start it. See if I can figure out if there's like one connection to the back of the case that's shorting it somehow. I get all the screws out. There's 8 of them that holds that sucker in place. Nope, not starting. So I pull the motherboard out again, set it on my desk, bridge the power button with the screwdriver, instantly starts. I say, well, if any of the pieces are broken, I'm glad it's the case because that's the cheapest piece, you know. Um, so I'm thinking about it, and I say, let me try that, and that was it. This is the I/O shield for the back panel. This is shorting my motherboard because as soon as I took this off, it worked fine. Hi, Suzanne. Haven't seen you in a while. I have never heard of this thing shorting a motherboard. And I made sure that it was actually sitting correct because these can be a little finicky. They just snap into place. I made absolutely sure that this was seated correctly and that my motherboard was sitting exactly where it was supposed to be. And nope, the difference is when this is when this is in my case, it will not post. Take out the IO shield, and it works just fine. So I screwed the motherboard back back onto my case, uh, and then one by one connected all the components, connected the front panel headers, and made sure I could actually, turn it on by pressing the case's power button. That worked. It was really nice turning it on via the power button instead of shorting with a screwdriver. Uh, finally put the PFC the power supply in, screwed it in place, made the wires all neat, put the panels back on. So it works without the IO shield, but it keeps shutting down. Um, I think my video card is overheating. I think my old video card, while it works, and I could have it on long enough to install Windows, it does not stay on more than if it's sitting by itself for a couple hours and then you turn it on, you get about 15 minutes before it's going to shut itself off. So I think the video card's overheating. So it works, but it's not usable until I get a modern video card. So, but at least it works. I mean, it took me about 4.5 hours to figure out what the damn problem was. Um, seriously, I looked around on some forums and I asked a friend of mine, like, have you ever heard of this, like somehow shorting out a motherboard? He'd not heard of it, and I couldn't find anything online about uh, rear back case IO shields doing that. So now the back of my PC is not as pretty as it could be. Whatever. Um, but at least it works for a couple minutes before it overheats and turns off because it's an old video card. It's trying its best. It's like dead, and it just shuts off. It's pretty funny. I was able to go into BIOS, and there's the modern BIOS is nice. I have not actually seen a modern BIOS, but it is slick looking, man. It's got little animated fans showing you the fans that are spinning. It's got temperature control and voltage, and it's wonderful. So I monitored the CPU and motherboard temperatures were fine, but the video card, I'm guessing it just can't handle a modern rig, so it overheats and shuts down after a handful of minutes. So gonna have to wait until those damn GPUs drop in price because I'm not spending 900 to 1150 on a modern graphics card. Because I'm not spending more on the graphics card than I did for the entire damn thing. So I'm a little sore about that, a little sore about this, but at least I figured it out and at least it works. What motherboard did I buy? Asus, Asus, ASUS. Um, it's like B450M Pro S or something. I don't know. Let me go grab. Oh well, hey, I actually have a. Let's see. It is motherboard is Asus Tough Gaming B450M Pro S. It's a micro ATX form factor and AM4. So, and it's got colorful lights on the back. So, if you're one of those RGB people who likes running colorful lights all over your computer, that's a board for you because it's got a port specifically for that, and it has pretty alternating color lights on the back. And the tower I bought, again, if you want to see it, it's over there on the desk. See, you can it's got this translucent glass side, so you can kind of see into it through the chassis fan in the back there. Um, so I mean, if you want it all colorful and sparkly, you can totally do that. I don't care. I mean, it's like this. I don't have the back panel on. I mean, looks a little janky now because this is missing, but don't care. I ain't trying to impress nobody. Nobody's over here anyway. So, I mean, yep, you know, don't have visitors right now. And even if I did, I doubt they'd be inspecting the back of my PC case. So, Tiger says not a big fan of the RGB lighting. Have half the time it looks like a unicorn exploded inside most cases. Yeah, I like it because pretty colors, but it's not for me. Um, because I find it super distracting. Like I disable this light in the front of the PS4 controller bugs me. Like seeing that light in my peripheral vision just bothers me. So yeah, I'm not a. For me, I think it's pretty. I like pretty colors. I like looking at Christmas lights. So it's the same thing. But yeah, for my purposes, yeah, I don't want it either. Um, but ooh, those solid state drives are nice and fast. All right, it's very little boot time. You just like I installed Windows in like 3 minutes. It's like, oh, that's fast. It turns out it's like boom, log in. You're like, oh wow, look at that. Um, Suzanne says, when I bought my motherboard, I bought the one with the mask logo because it looked super cool. It was DOA. Now I wonder if it was the heat. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, try taking the little IO shield off the back. Maybe that's what it was. Oh God. I was seriously thinking that because I narrowed it down to something in the case. Works outside the case, does not work once you put it in the case. So I was like, is somehow the casing shorting my mother? And I went screw by screw before I finally went, huh, let me try that. I took it out and it immediately works. 4.5 hours of troubleshooting that damn thing. I had stuff I wanted to do today. Create a superhero team, a Kama Sutra Superhero Team using sex position names because I'm immature. But I had no time to think about that today. No. Let's see. Tiger says, I hate how you cannot turn off the light on the PS4 controller. I swear that thing drains the battery the most. You can at least dim it to a level that doesn't distract me, at least me. But yeah, I'd like to turn it off too. It's a neat idea, whose controller is this? Oh, it's the red one. Oh, it's the blue one. Oh, it's the green one. there are uses for it, but for the most part, I'd be like, actually, I wouldn't mind it so much if the color wouldn't bleed through the touch panel, because it bleeds through here. If it was just this bit, it would be fine, but you can actually see it through the touchpad. But luckily, you can dim it. Suzanne, my motherboard told me my RAMs were busted, so I tried replacing those first and took everything apart for days just to find out it was the motherboard. Yeah. Tiger says those SSD and M2 are a godsend. HHD can take a dirt nap for all I care. Oh yeah. Also, the SATA cables are that's where it's particularly clean inside that case because they don't have the friggin' SATA cables going all over the place. Those are just nasty because you have the bit that plugs into the end, and then the other bit that plugs into the thing, and then the other one that goes in the board. Oh God, it's a mess. Um, in fact, I took the hard drive cage out of the inside of the case mainly because I needed this. I just couldn't get at some of I think it was the front panel headers that I was having trouble getting at. So I took the hard drive cage out of there, and I never put it back in. I'm thinking, yeah, I don't think I need it in there. I'm not going to be putting it. I have one external USB hard drive, a 1 terabyte that I have sitting behind my desk, but that's not meant to go in a PC. So, uh, hang on, got knocked my speaker off my desk, and now it's dirty. It's a dirty little speaker. So I'm really liking the SSD in the M2 slot. I also just like that M.2 slot. If you haven't seen it, um, it's a little it's this shape, but half the size. And what it does is there's a little slot on the board, and you just pop it in like that, and then press it down, and that's what the little impossibly tiny ass screw goes to hold it down. But I mean, it just slots really nicely. You just click, boop, and it's done. It's really neat. I've not seen that slot before, but it's pops right in there, and you press it down and screw it in place, and yeah, it's really nice. It's a real easy. It's hard to screw up. I mean, even uh, PCI slots or the RAM slots, those have the little latches on the side that you open. Uh, it has a little latch like that, and you press it open. Put the you put the card in, and then it grabs onto it. Those are handy too. Just don't forget about them. You don't want to go yanking something out and pulling that thing off of the motherboard. Um, the M.2 thing is really nice. Just slide it in and push it down. There's nothing you have to adjust. There's nothing you have to. Again, super tiny little screw though. So tiny. Thank God I have a magnetized screwdriver. The problem is though is the only magnetized screwdriver I have is a big honking screwdriver. So I have this tiny little screw on the end, stuck on the end of a magnetic screwdriver, trying desperately to just start it, and then I get my small little jewel screwdrivers to put it in the rest of the way. Because there is no way I'd ever be able to get that in place with my fingers, and I don't have the largest hands in the world, so I I feel bad for people who have hands larger than mine. Oof. Um, Tiger says I have the NZXT case, super clean. Mine is Cooler Master or something like Master Cooler Master, something like that. It's fine. Um, it's built for. I have the space for more stuff if need be. Um, like there's an entire, like if I want to put like a bigger fan unit on the front of the case, there's room for that. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's easy to the yeah, it comes apart easily. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And it wasn't, although this shorts out my motherboard. Other than that, oh wait, no, this is not part of the case. This came with the motherboard, so that's the motherboard's fault. I should probably uh, write Asus and say, hey, your IO shield shorted out my motherboard. Anyways, it's super clean. Although I do admit I just shoved all the cables in that PSU basement. No cable management, just cable shoved. You just shove them in. I actually took the time to uh, feed the. Most of the cables are running. The excess cableage are running behind the back panel and the floor of the case and the back panel. There's like a there's the bit of metal that the motherboard sits on, and then there's the back panel of the case, which is the outside that you see. So I have the most of the wires running back there, which is really easy to do. You just feed them through. You take the back panel off, you feed them through, you run them back the other way. It's fine. Just be careful not to pinch anything. But yeah, you can magnetize a screwdriver by running across a magnet one way. Used to do that back in my RC hobby days. Yeah, okay. Yeah, try that. Just got to be careful not to, go touching things you don't want to touch. It's like, oh, let me set this down here. Oh no. So, um, although without a physical hard drive with magnetic tape, it's probably not going to hurt too much. Um, yeah. So my PC works. It's just unusable, which is a big but. Hence the title of this podcast. So, hey, maybe if the pandemic ends and people stop sitting home mining for Bitcoin, stop hoarding all the damn graphics cards. Um, yeah, I cut my hair. I think I did okay, mildly okay. Of course, I. It's not a style. I mean, I think I used like 7/8 of an inch on the top, and then I think like half an inch on the sides, and then like a quarter inch, on the very bottom. I don't know how well it blends, but whatever. I'm not out and about to impress nobody. So, um, Tiger bought the Super Mario All Stars collection that came with 64 Sunshine and Galaxy. Oh, cool. I I'm old, so I own all those games. So, and I have all of my systems here. So if I want to play them, I just, you know, I mean, my N64 games are in my dresser in my bedroom, but I have the Sunshine. My GameCube games are over there, so I can just pull it off the shelf and play it. So, but yeah, you got to get on that because that collection goes the way of the dodo in 2 months for some reason. Um, if you have them in any form or played them before, wouldn't recommend it. They're not remastered or anything. I think they might. Yeah, there are some small touch ups, but yeah, they're not. They could have. The original Super Mario All Stars brought the original NES games to the Super NES generation, gave them a complete new coat of paint. Uh, I was hoping that the new Super Mario Brother All Stars, 3D All Stars or whatever it's called, uh, would take the same care. You know? Nope. Oh well. Um, let's see. What to talk? What the hell is that on my floor? What is this? Yeah. Well, it's squishy. Yep. Maybe it's a little rubber foot for part of the computer case. I don't know. I'll have to look. I don't know what that is. Nintendo knows you need it. They want that $60. Yeah. Well, I mean, Wind Waker HD or whatever. That was. I mean, it didn't make a generational leap, but certainly upping the resolution really cleaned that game up um, a lot. So that was nice. And they made a couple other improvements, like they ironed out the fetch, the Triforce fetch quest at the end, and they gave like a magical outboard motor. No, they did. It was a new sail that made the boat sail faster, which is probably a godsend. But other than that, it's the exact same game. So, um, like, I bought Resident Evil 2 remake, even though I own Resident Evil 2, because it's essentially a different game. So, if you um meaningfully change what the game is and how it plays, I'll be happy to rebuy it. But if it's the exact same game, just even if it's much prettier, I already played it. So for me, it's not worth it unless there's a new experience. Unless the new graphics are so transformative. For example, I have the original Resident Evil. Um Actually no I don't. No, I have the GameCube remake. Um but I feel that even though it plays pretty close to the original game, it's such a generational transformation that I think it's worth getting again, uh, even if you own the original. So you could look at a Resident Evil remake and say, yeah, I mean, it's completely redone and it's looks leagues better than the one that came out in what 96, 98, somewhere on there. Um, but it's the same layout. It's pretty much the same. There's Lisa Trevor's new. There's a couple new things, but for the most part, same game. It's like yeah, but I mean it plays totally differently. So um, let's see. Tiger says I do like when they remaster a game and add a few quality of life improvements. Always a bonus. Oh yeah, like I've heard that Xenoblade Chronicles does actually add quite a few very nice quality of life improvements. I've not seen it myself. That's one I actually plan on getting at some point, even though I own the original and it's pretty much exactly the same game. Mainly because I need to finish that game, and it's been so long, I may as well start from the beginning. And if I'm starting it over, may as well get the new one, you know? Um, but if I had completed Xenoblade Chronicles, I would not get the definitive edition. Um, Even though it has I think it has a extra game mode or ending or epilogue. Epilogue is probably a better way to put it. I think definitive edition has a epilogue at some sort. It's kind of like Bowser's Fury, the Super Mario 3D World for the Switch plus Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury looks great. I really want to play that, but I don't want to play it so much that I'm willing to drop $60 on a game I already played through and paid full price for to do it. You know, if they sold Bowser's Fury for standalone for $10 or $15, I don't know how long it is or how much it might be worth. I'd absolutely get it. But so far as I know, Nintendo is not. So bummer. Okay. I think that is good. Remember, I am going to try and create a superhero team consisting of superheroes named after sex positions because I'm very immature. So two of the members are definitely going to be Reverse Cowgirl and Hovering Butterfly. So need at least three more members, maybe some um, secret identity alias names, maybe some names for sidekicks, maybe some villains and arch nemesises. If you have ideas, feel free to put them in the comments, or save them for next week, and we will share. Did I hear about that lawsuit in EU for Joy-Con drift? I don't remember it being specifically in the EU. I know there's been at least one class action. I think that was in America, though. I've never experienced Joy-Con drift, probably because I don't use the Joy-Cons, probably because they're the worst controller that Nintendo or any major console manufacturer has ever put out. Not counting handhelds where the handheld is actually the controller. I would rather use a Joy-Con than, say, like the Nokia N-Gage. It's close, but I think I'd rather the Joy-Con controller. Um, and I mean standard for the console controller. There's a couple crap Atari controller peripherals that are terrible, but I mean just the main control. I have a whole video on it. I was utterly stunned when I first wrapped my greasy mitts around the Joy-Con. I was like, oh God. I have this expression on my face like I just put something particularly rancid in my mouth. It's this really slow creeping expression of rancid disgust. It's oh man, I was just so utterly blown away by how much I did not like the Joy-Con controllers. Um, it just the absolute feel of them. And on top of that, apparently the sticks drift, and maybe mine does too, but I don't know. Because luckily my sister bought me a pro controller, so I never use the sticks. In fact, my Switch never comes out of the dock because that's not how I play. um, Tiger says, "I wouldn't say that too loud. Fans will eat you alive." Um, I've had a couple people respond to me aggressively negatively, but if you peruse the comments on that video, most people don't seem that bothered by some random dude's opinion on a controller. 64 controllers not aged well. It's actually close to. I like the N64 controller, but that will definitely. The problem with the 64 controller. Hang on. The problem with the 64 controller, or rather a problem with the 64 controller, is you see this angle here, your hands are so close together, because you can't really you could do this if you have larger hands, but see this nice straight line here, that this bend here, it's okay, but after if you're a marathon gamer, after a couple hours, Oh man, this hurts. Other than that, though, I mean, I guess you could do it like this, but then you have the same problem over here. You just maybe they should have spread this out a little bit more. But I actually like this controller. These analog sticks have come a long way since '96, but still works. Um, other than that, I actually like it. It fits really nicely. I love this trigger back here. Um, for me anyway, I can pretty easily reach the D-pad without moving too much. There are a couple like I could Rainbow Six actually use these. Hitting this one's tough, but Rainbow Six I think used D-pad stuff. Um, Rumble Pack. um, the so this is probably my favorite controller. I just really like it. Just do not use it for extended periods of time. My favorite, do I have enough lead to actually not pull stuff off my desk? Da, 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 da. Okay. Yeah, the GameCube controller would be my favorite. I love this sucker. Oh man, this is such a wonderful controller. Except the Z trigger is in the wrong spot. It needs to go that way a little bit because it doesn't press on this side. It presses here. It presses on this side. This side does not press. So it's not a full button. It's like a trigger. It only presses on this side. And when you have big meaty hands like I do, you have to hit it with like the inside of your second knuckle or do that. It's hard to actually press, and there isn't one on this side, which is phenomenally stupid. So this is a problem. Also, why the biscuits did they use a tiny little plus pad, D-pad? Why'd they do that? This sucks. This sucks and this sucks. So move this button like an half an inch that way, mirror it on this side, and put this D-pad right here. I need to clean these controllers. They've been sitting in a drawer for a while and are covered in dirt. And it would be a perfect controller, but it's not perfect, and so it's not my favorite. So I guess the N64 is my favorite. Super NES is pretty nice too. The original NES controller has kind of a similar problem with it. I mean, it's functional, but being square, the corners dig into your damn palms because there's no uh, ergonomics to that. It's just a flat triangle. So the more you, especially if you're intense or you've been playing a while, your hands are sweating. The more intense it gets, or the longer you go, the harder you hold on to the sucker so it doesn't slip out, and the more the corners dig into your palms. So both the 64 and the original NES can be painful after a while. The SNES actually does a nice job of rounding out the corners and being comfortable to hold. GameCube, I never had a problem holding for extended periods of time. Um, and most of the games kind of worked around like they don't use the plus pad or the Z trigger much, so not a huge problem. Never really liked the Wii controller. Um, it's surprisingly not uncomfortable, but most of the buttons aren't really reachable. If you're holding it, you have to go way down here to hit the one or two buttons if the game uses it, which most didn't, so it wasn't really a problem. Um, I actually really like the Wii U controller. For me, it's comfortable. Maybe it's because I have larger hands. Um, although they really should have switched the buttons should be here and the stick should be here. You know, like God intended. And yes, I know PlayStation still does it wrong. This goes here. This goes here. Get it right, Sony. 5 generations and you still get it wrong. Yes, wrong. Objectively wrong. So, Tiger says, what I used to do is lean to the left, so that way my wrist is straight with my arm. Always gamed on my N64, leaning on my left arm on the armrest of a chair. Oh, so kind of doing one of the, yeah, I could see how that might work. Or like God Nintended. Nice, Freakle. I like that. All right, so we're over time. You know, but I'm hungry and I want to eat dinner. So, I'm going to try and I have a bunch of question marks in my schedule, so I can't commit to a day yet. But I really want to, in the next week, do another cooking with Andrew or from Andrew's kitchen episode. So I'll try and give as much. Might do it tomorrow. Might do it Monday. It really I'm trying to get some scheduling information tomorrow, which will determine if I can do it Monday or not. And if I can't do it Monday, maybe I'll do it Sunday, or maybe I'll do it the following weekend or later in the week. I don't know yet. But whenever I do it, if you're available to watch, I hope you enjoy. If you're not, sorry. But it will be available on my YouTube channel when I'm done. So cooking with Andrew equals cover up for collecting insurance money. Yeah. Freakill says, wait, what's wrong with DualShock? The analog stick should be here. The D-pad should be here. These two elements should switch places. Other than that, it's great. But this is how my thumbs naturally land on the controller. This is home position. And what am I normally using my right thumb for? Buttons, where my thumb naturally lies. What am I normally doing with my left thumb? The analog stick, which is down here. It should be here because that's where my thumb naturally is. The inputs that you use the most should be in the home positions where your thumbs naturally lie. Now, if the bread and butter of the PlayStation were like fighting games or 2D platformers or puzzle games, I could see a D-pad being the more useful element to have in a home position. But they're not. It's 3D games and pretty much games with 3D controls. So most games you're going to be using the control stick. So the control stick should be here. Oh well. You make do. Uh, all right. So keep an eye out on my Twitter, I guess, at Andrew Eisen, and I'll try and give as much warning before I do a Cooking with Andrew episode as I can. And until then, thanks for bearing with me. I would really like to get some more videos up, but I'm gonna need to wait until GPU prices drop so that I can get a modern video card to put my new PC, because otherwise I can't use it. If you're late to the show, it works, but the video card overheats within 15 minutes and the whole thing shuts down. So I need a modern video card. And Bucky says, "Third time you've missed me." I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you'll be available whenever I do the Cooking with Andrew or whatever that series is called. Anyway, I have dinner to eat, so I hope you all have a lovely evening and subsequent week, and I will see you then. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.